the story goes, which is probably quite apocryphal, that the reason for that was so that they didn't disturb any drinks or cocktails that the passengers might be enjoying and spill them on the upholstery. This is certainly one of the best known brands ever created. And this car that I'm driving today, a 1932 Rolls-Royce Phantom II Salamanca with a body by Kellner of Paris, is an absolutely wonderful statement to the art of Rolls-Royce for a number of reasons. Rolls-Royces were always very refined, and this is a very refined car. They were always clothed by coach builders, and Kellner in particular is one of my favorite coach builders. You would think that most French design is very flamboyant. Kellner is not one of those coach houses. Kellner always built very sober, sophisticated, clean, simple lined cars. And in fact, my favorite of the Bugatti Royales, without doubt by many miles, is the Kellner Coupe. We'll put a picture of it up here so you can see what I'm talking about. And the character of Kellner suits the Phantom II so beautifully. This particular example is also quite remarkable because at 92 years of age, it's only had 6 owners from new, and one of them twice. After being sold to its original owner in Paris, it was sold to an American. It was then acquired by the great J.B. Nethercutt of California, who kept it in his collection until he sold it to his friend and fellow amazing collector, Bill Harrah. It was on display at the Harrah Collection in Reno, Nevada for many years until J.B. Nethercutt bought it back for his collection. And he kept it for many years until finally selling it around 1991 to the owner from whom the Audrain collection purchased this car. And it really is a great tribute to this car that it certainly has seen use, but it's also been incredibly well handled, well cared for, always loved. And it's also quite interesting because I'm driving this car, which is a Salamanca. It's a town car with a soft top over the driver's compartment and a hard compartment in the back for the passengers, the owner. This is not an owner-driver Phantom II. They made a number of those, especially in the Continental, the short wheelbase cars, which are quite sought after and very, very beautiful in their wonderful various bodywork. But this is a car for the chauffeur. And quite interestingly, the life of a chauffeur, even by the time you get to the 1930s, was not just that of driving the car around. Rolls-Royce quite famously had a school for chauffeurs to teach them all sorts of things about the way the cars are made, proper maintenance, because these are cars that required a great deal of maintenance, and also to give them lessons in driving. And one of the things that I think is so absolutely wonderful that was a part of the Rolls-Royce chauffeur school was to teach the chauffeur how to bring the car to a stop without jerking or disturbing the passengers. And the story goes, which is probably quite apocryphal, that the reason for that was so that they didn't disturb any drinks or cocktails that the passengers might be enjoying and spill them on the upholstery. Whether that's true or not, it's just, again, another example of the fact that these cars were meant to be enjoyed by people who expected things to be done a certain way and expected things to always come out the way they wanted. And one of the other things about this particular car, for which I am very grateful, is that many cars of this age have very, very short chauffeur compartments, which I don't quite understand. I guess that at one point chauffeurs were jockey-sized. This car, I'm very fortunate to note, has rather ample legroom, which again is very surprising. And although it has a door on the right-hand side, the gear shift and the brake handle make it fairly impossible to get in on that side unless you want to try to run the risk of running them up your leg, which is not really worth it. But it is an amazingly smooth conveyance and torquey. I'm in top gear right now and just pulled right through that corner at 25 miles per hour without effort. And it's a reminder that for a very long time, the way to judge a true luxury or performance car was by how well it pulled in top gear. And this Phantom 2 is a great exemplar of that plan, that idea. And while certainly in 1932 you could buy a much more powerful car like a Duesenberg, a more exotic car like a Hispano Suiza or an Isotta Fraschini, but for people who wanted to keep it traditional, there's nothing like a Rolls-Royce and nothing like this Phantom 2. This is a great tribute to this legendary car maker, and you can just imagine both the life that the owner of this car and the chauffeur, who I'm sure considered himself quite fortunate to be able to pilot such a wonderful motor car. I don't often like the idea of being in the front compartment of a chauffeured car, but this is a pleasure. Quality always speaks.